Welcome back, everybody. It's the 2023 season, and it is week one finally. I'm Mike LaPlant, and with me here, as always, for every Sunday is Dylan Clemons, and then Joe will be starting off the show with us, giving us a little sneak peek at his rankings. So how's it going, guys?
Go well.
Good, man. Happy to have week 1B here finally.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
I know, I'm so excited.
I can't be any more excited either.
I can only watch preseason for so long in college football.
Right?
I need the real thing.
College football's, dude,
it's fun. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, exactly. That was a great game to watch last night. But I digress. Let's let's get into it. Before we start, we got to run through some business. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below, and hit that bell rung, or click that bell if you want to be notified every Sunday when this show comes live. That way you can get some help. And then make sure you guys, if you guys want to get in on the action here and get in on the Discord, get into these top 5 rankings that Joe seems to be finishing every year in. And the Piece de Resistance, the DFS channel with Dave, Eddy, and Chris Robbin. So make sure you go to fantasysixpack.net/plans and go check out those memberships if you want to get all that inside access and, basically one-on-one conversations with us. I mean, you could be talking to Joe right now in that Discord chat if he wasn't live with us. So let's just kind of jump right into it. Dylan, I'll let you take it away. I know you got some questions here for those initial rankings that Joe has, and I'm intrigued to hear them.
All right, Joe, you ready?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. Let's go with this grilling. When I mentioned ECR here, everybody, I just want to
let you know. It's like Thursday all over again, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
It's our ECR from our site. We have 6 rankers that are published on the site. So that's what ECR I'm referring to. And on the site, Anthony Richardson is quarterback 17. Joe, you have him all the way up to QB 12 as a quarterback 1 this week.
That's spicy.
Tell me about Richardson and your thoughts here.
I know. Yeah, I mean, projections, I'll be honest with you. Projections came out and you're talking a span of less than a point between QB 12 and 17.
Oh wow, okay.
It's disgusting when you get
very
that
tight.
It's like good luck figuring out, right? I mean, so it's very close. So the projections actually have him pushed down to QB 15 for me, and actually probably QB 16. I forgot my projections now don't include the lines and whoever played Thursday night, so I have to manually move that around. But anyway, he's like QB 15, 16 with the projections right now. With a little bit of the rushing upside and some of the guys that he would be behind in the projections, like Daniel Jones. I know he's had some good games against Dallas, but he's also had some really crappy games against Dallas, so that that's tough. The Jags defense isn't top notch by any means.
Agreed.
They're okay, but if you're gambling in that range of quarterbacks, I feel like you can take your chances with an Anthony Richardson there. After that you're looking at guys like Russell Wilson, Prescott, they're fine, but I don't know if the upside is any better than Richardson. So that's kind of why I moved him up.
Yeah, I agree 100% there. Anthony Richardson has just a ton of upside and a pretty decent floor just because of his rushing. Let's just hope that passing takes a step forward starting this week in this matchup. But heading over to the running backs, Joe, I want to talk to you about Miles Sanders. ECR on our website has him as RB19, and Joe, you have him all the way down at RB25, so not even an RB2 this week. Just explain your thoughts here on why you have Miles Sanders so low.
Yeah, this is just it's going to be a pretty rough offense. I like Sanders from a volume standpoint, and that's about it. But I just don't know how much we can trust this offense to move the ball with rookie quarterback, some banged up receivers. Look, we know Atlanta's defense is just the pits. So maybe, it can work out.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were drafting him as more of a flex play. And so that's exactly where he sits right there at RB25 for me. And right there in flex territory. So, be happy that that's where you drafted him in your draft and use him as so.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Atlanta's defense, definitely, they're trying to get better. They added a few pieces this offseason in free agency and stuff. Mike, just real quick, do you have Miles Sanders around where Joe has him, or do you have him around RB19 where our consensus has him?
I have him. To be honest with you, I did not have those up real quick. I was sharing the live stream. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have that. I was not prepared because my coffee wasn't ready. But, Miles Sanders. Oh, I actually have him at 18. I actually do like him just because you got DJ Chark out. Adam Thielen did finally get the okay to start today, but, I mean, I'm sure if there's a tweak there, he's going to be out. So I just there is a volume aspect here, and it's just, I think, it's too hard to push him down any lower, behind someone like Cam Akers, who I have at 19. Yeah. Who may not even see that same volume because they're going to be playing catch up all day behind the Seahawks. So it is purely volume for me, and I chase the volume, but don't watch the game.
Right. Joe, next guy here. This one surprised me a little bit. We have Alexander Madison here on the site, ECR RB20. Joe, you have him all the way up as your RB14. Are you just banking on the volume there that he's going to see?
Yeah, I mean, banking on volume. I know we all like Jordan Addison, but it's his first real game. Madison's proven that he can do it. Look, Tampa's defense wasn't all that good last year either. So, I think he can. I think he can do some good things today. Hawkinson's going to be there to take a little bit of some of the work that away from him in the passing game as well. But I mean, look, Madison's done it before. I have no doubt that he can do it again.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's a decent matchup against the Bucs as well. And then jumping over to the Bucs side of things here, we got Rachaad White, ECR RB21. Joe, you have him as RB17, so you're excited about him as well. Once again, another volume play.
Yeah, I mean, I know, some of us at Fantasy Six Pack like Sean Tucker, but let's be real, that's sort of more of a dynasty play, deep stash. This is Rachaad White's backfield, and you're talking about crummy defense. Man, Minnesota was not good last year. I mean, they were winning shootouts.
Yes, they were.
1-score games left and right. I believe they set the record for most 1-score games victories last year. So it's Rachaad White for me, projections put him around 20-ish. My gut pushed him up.
Yeah, that's totally fair there. Jumping over to the wide receivers section we got now, but we're staying with the Buccaneers, and we got Mike Evans at ECR wide receiver 27. Joe, you're high on Mike Evans this week. You have him at wide receiver 22, and I'm assuming here that it's matchup based.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing. I mean, again, Minnesota's pass defense was one of the worst last year. I don't see how it gets much better this year. I know we're dealing with Baker Mayfield. No Tom Brady. I get it. I get all the concerns. But look, if this were Tom Brady, Mike Evans, we'd be talking top 10 receiver, right? Drop him back to 20, 22. That seems totally fair. Projections actually pulled him in at 20. I knocked him down 2 more. So that's what I'm. This defense is bad.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm just a little nervous about both the pass catchers there in Tampa.
Of course we have to be. Yeah. But I mean, it's not like there haven't been, this has to be the best receiving core that Baker's had, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Absolutely. So I'd be able to get these guys the ball. If not, it's gonna be a quick leash, in my opinion. Not that Trask is anything I'm banking on, but I'm just believing that Baker Mayfield can just find these 2 studs the ball and let them do their thing.
Yep. Let's hope for it from a fantasy perspective for sure. And if you drafted these guys and you're not playing them in this matchup, then why are they on your roster? Because the matchup is awesome. The next guy here, Joe, this one hurts me, but I tend to agree a little bit. DJ Moore, ECR wide receiver 22. You have him down as wide receiver 26, outside of wide receiver 2. territory. Is it just the matchup with Jair Alexander here that you're thinking, or is there more to it?
You just wanted me to talk about Justin Fields, didn't you? Look, it's a little bit of matchup, obviously. That's a tough draw for him. But look, I think Moore is one of those guys that can kind of move around. They probably shadow him a little bit, but Moore's going to line up all over the place. So I don't know if that's going to be like a true, 100%, lockdown there. Again, my issue is Justin Fields. And as the preseason went on, I just continuously ticked Fields down like one every week, it felt like. I just do not believe in his passing skills. I just do not. And I know the dude can run, and he's athletic, he's big. We really banking on 1,000 yards rushing again from him? Probably not. So if you knock that down to 700, 800, which is probably more likely, that's still really good, and which is why he stayed in my top 10. But if he can't get that passing back up, he's not going to finish back in the top 5 like he did last year. And so DJ Moore is it's a bad matchup, and I just don't believe in. I mean, look, unless he wants to take 2 screen passes to the house again, like he did in the preseason game.
Yeah.
I mean, how likely are we going to get these like downfield throws from Fields unless it's like a busted play and like DJ Moore is wide open? That's just what it kind of feels like to me. And that's so hard to rely on.
Yeah, I feel you, and I get your point for sure. You want to see it first. Last wide receiver we got here is Hollywood Brown of the Arizona Cardinals. He is ECR wide receiver 37 on our site. Joe, you have him down to wide receiver 42. Is it just the offense here that you're thinking? I want nothing to do with the Cardinals offense at all. We're talking Joshua Dobbs and potentially Clayton Tune. Like, yeah, right.
Like he's gonna see some snaps too. Like, what are we doing here, guys? This is bad. No. Get rid of. I'd be shocked if Marquise Brown does much of anything. We're talking maybe like 4 for 40 at best. It's not looking good.
One of those guys who, when he finally catches the passes, you feel like you want to throw a party over it because it's such a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, projections have him pulled in at 8.5 points. So, 6 for 40, fine.
Sure. Sure. And then we go to tight ends here. And this question really isn't you versus ECR. I just want you to talk about Tyler Higbee all the way up as ECR tight end 5, and you have him as tight end 3. But I feel like that's going to shock some people when they see that. Can you just kind of explain your thought process here?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the games last season where Cooper Kupp was missing time. Higbee was like the volume leader on that team. And at tight end, I mean, that's what you want. You want guys that are going to see a ton of passes. I mean, I know people are like, oh, it's Van Jefferson. That didn't work last year. Puka. We really don't know much about this kid. Like, we don't. Ben Skowronek. It's ugly.
Yeah.
It's going to be Tyler Higbee with probably double-digit targets because, look, the Rams' defense isn't very good anymore. So they're going to have to pass the ball to keep up in this game. So that's why Higbee gets a massive jump in the rankings for me.
I agree 100%. Higbee needs to be ranked that high. And then the last guy we have here is Dalton Schultz, ECR tight end 11 on our site. Joe, you have him as tight end 13. And this one for me, I like Dalton Schultz as a top 8 tight end this week because of the volume that he might see. The game script, I feel like they're going to have to come back from. I'm curious why you have him all the way down at tight end 13.
It's a bit of, I don't know if I trust CJ Stroud yet. Projections actually have him a little bit higher than that. My gut just tells me I'd much rather play guys like Jawan Johnson, Freiermuth, even throwing in Everett, those types of guys who I did bump him below all of them. And so, more established quarterbacks, probably just way better offenses in general. And so that's where my head went at with that one.
All right. Yeah, that's totally fair. All right, Joe. Yeah, we kind of slotted 15 minutes for you. But before you get out of here, you got anything to plug?
Yeah, I mean, obviously everything Mike did. We've got our rankings over there on the site right now. I did a big update this morning. I think everybody else is as well. I'm waiting for inactive to come out, and then I'll be doing another big push right before lock. So go ahead and check that out. And then of course, stay tuned on this show, guys. It's a good one. What's up? What's up, Junior? And then, make sure you jump over to our Discord. We have lots of good conversation over there, fantasy6pack.net/Discord. And if you're a member, you can verify yourself and you get access to all the members only channels. But, we have lots of good conversation regardless over there. So anyway, good luck, guys. We will
appreciate you, Joe.
See you guys later. Have a good one.
Joe. Have a good Sunday, my friend.
Good luck in the rankings.
Thanks.
All right. And welcome in our next guest here. He's going to be with us for the next hour, discussing some start-sit questions that you guys have so eagerly been wanting to get to, which we really appreciate it. Kind of filling our comment section with some questions already for us. So, I mean, let's just hop right into it then if you guys want to. And
what up, Jordan?
Dude, what's up, guys? We finally made it, man. It is Sunday morning. We got football. Hopefully my audio is coming through okay. Got a new setup I'm kind of trying out today, so hopefully I sound okay.
Yeah, you're better than me right now.
But man, dude, I'm just so stoked, man. I felt like a kid on the Christmas last night. Like I knew I had to get up early, but I still was like on my phone until 1 a.m. just like rechecking my lineups. I've already set like 12 times already, just like just in case I missed something. But man, dude, I'm stoked. We're here.
Yeah, I feel you. Me too.
I was stoked on Thursday night, and now I'm even more.
Yes, sir.
But so before we hop into it real quick, just everybody, if you haven't met Jordan yet, Jordan is our dynasty content guy over at Fantasy Six Pack. He's the guy if you have any dynasty questions. So don't be afraid to ask some of those questions here too if you want. That's what he's here for. But he's also here. He's going to give a little bit of a redraft perspective as well, since he gets so dynasty brained all the time.
Keep me balanced a little bit.
Exactly.
Right on.
It's a equal balance, just like in the Avengers.
Exactly.
It's a balance. But Mo Diesel was the first one here with a question, and we got a half PPR question here. Juju Smith-Schuster, or are we trusting Rashad Bateman off that Liz Frank injury with Andrews out? Dylan, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. I'm not trusted Bateman quite yet. I'm going to go with Juju. I think he's got a safer floor this week. Even with it at half PPR, I want Rashad Bateman to show.
You're right. You're right. He does have a safer floor, but let's be honest. If you're playing the Eagles, there's no ceiling. He has no ceiling.
His ceiling is if he catches a touchdown or not.
Pretty much.
That's
yeah. I mean, I'm with you, though, because I don't trust Bateman yet off the foot injury as well. I got him in some leagues. I've got him in a couple dynasty leagues as well. But unless you're desperate to play him, I'm benching him for another option just this week for now. See what he can do.
Yeah, I think if you're in a spot where you need 8 points guaranteed, I'm going to go Juju. But if you're in a spot where you're projected to win pretty big and you want to swing for the fences, you can go Bateman in that spot. Just because the matchup against Philly is tough. But I would say 8 times out of 10, I'm going to go Juju this week.
Just because he could probably end up with 6 to 7 receptions, maybe for 50 yards. But if he gets that touchdown, woo!
Right. Whereas if Bateman gets behind the defense for one, I could see him taking one to the house. But
and that could be his only catch for the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's a good question, Mo. And then he had a tight end one here for us. Ferguson, Dulcich, or Conklin? He must be a Kelsey or an Andrews owner.
Jordan, you take this one first.
This one's pretty easy for me. I'm going to go Ferguson. I think he's going to step pretty much right into the role that my cousin Schultz played last year, who's now in Houston. Dulcich, if you'd asked me this a month ago, I'd have probably said Dulcich, but just the way the preseason's gone out, I feel real kind of not great about that situation there outside of basically Judy when he comes back. I'll go with Ferguson here, and I think he's kind of a sneaky play for a touchdown too.
Yeah, I know the rankings probably aren't going to say it, it's probably going to be Dulcich over Ferguson, but I'm going Ferguson as well, man. Like you said, Dak loves to target that tight end, and they seem to have decent chemistry already. So I'm going with Ferguson, the former Wisconsin Badger, Mike LaPlant. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that, actually. I'm impressed you knew that. In a bubble, I'd go Dulcich here, just because we've seen him before. We haven't really seen Ferguson with the full, expectancy of the volume. Now, granted, it's not, wide receiver volume. But I will say this, it is very close. And the fact that you have Dak slightly edges me to Ferguson just because of the stack.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you just that one extra thing to root for. I mean, double points right off there with Dak and Ferguson in that connection. They're playing a solid defense in the Giants, so it's not like I don't think they're going to run away with the game. I think they win, but I don't think they're going to run away with the game. So I think Ferguson's heavily involved. Just, I'm curious to see what he does because it is his first starting gig. Mm-hmm. And then we get our first defensive question for the year right off the bat. Eagles defense against the New England Patriots or Cowboys D against Daniel Jones and the Giants. I know Jordan's answer.
I actually don't. I'm actually going Philly here.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go with the Eagles here, man. I think the Patriots are going to be really bad this year. So I'm going to pretty much play any defense that's against them until they prove me otherwise. I think Dallas is going to be a solid defense this year. But New York showed last year that they can get hot and they can go on little bits of runs there. They added Darren Waller. It sounds like he's going to play. I think the Cowboys are still a really strong play, probably a top 5 play this week. But I would say the Eagles are in the mix for 1 or 2 this week.
Yeah, and you're really chasing turnovers when you're picking a defense or streaming a defense. And we saw Daniel Jones actually take pretty dang good care of the ball last year. So I'm going to go with Jordan as well here and go with the Eagles. The Patriots offensive line is struggling from things I've heard in the preseason. And
how's the old line for the Cowboys looking, Jordan?
It's looking okay. We got a few guys that are questionable, so we'll see once the final report comes out. But I think we're for sure going to be down one offensive lineman. It sounds like Tyron Smith is going to play, so we'll see for sure. Mm-hmm.
That's good. And you guys got Zach Martin still, so I mean,
that's
always a good get.
Mm-hmm. I could see the Eagles front just dominating this game.
Their defense is possibly better this year than it was even last year, and they lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, if that makes sense. Addition by subtraction. But on to the next question, because I agree with you. It's a clean sweep. It's the Eagles for me. I do think Dable is going to – maybe Daniel Jones ain't the greatest quarterback ever, which absolutely he's not. But I think Dable can manage him to control the turnovers, which we saw last year. Like, I don't know if they do much better this year, but as long as they can just not turn the ball over, I mean, that's what's going to really hurt you playing the defense against that team because you're looking for turnovers, you're looking for sacks, and the Eagles are probably going to get plenty of those against the Patriots. All right, so on to this one's. I was thinking about this one where you guys were explaining it. Stephen wants to know, hey, are we playing Breece Hall coming off that ACL injury, or should he go Deion Jackson in a half PPR league? It's not a great situation here. And I'll go because I was already thinking about it. I'll go right away. I'd actually play Breece Hall. If you had a different option besides Deion Jackson, I'd probably lean that route. But since it's Deion Jackson, I mean, we're playing running back on the Colts with Anthony Richardson, who's the red zone running back. So he's not going to pass the ball very much to him. So I'm really – it's a very low floor and a very low ceiling for Deion Jackson, where at least Breece Hall, it is a low floor because Dalvin Cook's going to assume the majority of the role this week. But Breece Hall, if he's as fresh, if he's as healthy as he says he is and the team is saying he is, he can do enough with the limited amount of touches to score more points than Deion Jackson for you.
Yeah, I'm banking on the talent here with Breece Hall too, and the fact you talked about it, Mike. When we saw Deion Jackson last year put up a running back 1 week, he was catching a ton of dump offs from Matt Ryan, and that's not going to happen from Anthony Richardson. He would rather just run for 6 yards than pass it forward 2 yards to a running back who's not as athletic and electric as Anthony Richardson.
I'm just being a smart ass here, but I mean, can he make it the 2 yards to the running back? We haven't seen him make a slant really consistently. So yeah, he might just take it all himself. Jordan, what you thinking here?
I'm gonna go Breece Hall as well here. I mean, I'm gonna bet on talent this early in the year. If it was full PPR, maybe then you can talk yourself into Jackson just because, like Dylan said. He has shown that he can catch the ball. Like the one big game he had last year, I think he had like 8 catches or something like that. So if it's full PPR, I think maybe you could talk yourself into there. But even in that situation, I think I'm going to go Breece Hall. You drafted him earlier for a reason. He's the better talent. Worst case, you come out and then you see him get like 5 carries. And you're like, okay, they're going to really ease him back in slow, and then you adjust for next week. But I would rather do that than have him on my bench going off for like 20 points and then just being like mad about it when Deion Jackson goes for 8 carries for 20 yards and a catch for 4 yards.
Right.
It's between Breece Hall and Javonte Williams, or we're going to really have the tough questions today with. But I'm going to tell you, probably 9 times out of 10, I'm starting Breece Hall over Javonte Williams this week.
I'm going the other way.
Really? Just because Breece Hall only had the ACL injury, and I'm going to talk about this till it's in the ground. Multi-ligament injury. 3 ligaments. All right. That had to be repaired on Javonte Williams' leg. All right. And also, Sean Payton's telling us now that running back Jaleel McLaughlin is
my guy, baby.
Significant carries in week 1 as well.
Let's go.
Read between the lines here. If Javonte Williams was going to assume a large role, why are they bringing a third running back onto the roster for week 1? Like compared to Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, where it's already been established, it's Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook.
You know what
they got Izzy there too.
Yeah, but we haven't been hearing any hype. We've been just hearing, hey, it's Dalvin Cook going to be hot out the gates until Breece Hall is healthy, then it's Breece Hall taking over. Yeah. That's all we've really heard. Outside of Sean Payton telling us, hey, this player's getting a role, this player's getting a role.
I feel like if there's like one coach that like is like great at coach speak that I'm not going to believe anything, it's going to be Sean Payton though.
I get that.
Talk, you know what I mean? Like you've already seen Javonte back, like no restrictions. I think you're going to see him. I think I would like the over under for him at like 16 touches today, like between catches.
Really?
Catches and touches altogether. I'd say about 16.
Really? You think he gets more touches than Breece Hall today?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm willing to take that bet off screen if you want.
All right, well, we'll do that. That sounds good.
I definitely want to do that because I don't think so. I think Javonte's more going to be in like the 10 to 13 range for touches.
Well, who else is there in the backfield with them? They got McLaughlin.
Samaje Perine.
Got Perine.
Who's a very capable back, who was the backup to Joe Mixon in the Super Bowl. I mean,
guys, I think we're gonna see McLaughlin maybe 1 series, 2 series.
Yeah,
I don't expect much from him. I think it's gonna be Javonte, and I think
I'll still go. I think 15.5. We'll say is that my over under this there. We'll go for
that. Can't be true.
What?
Apparently, Taylor Lewan has announced his retirement from the NFL.
Yeah, I believe it. He's had a ton of knee stuff. So
just happened now on Barstool Sports. But yeah, sorry to go off on a little tangent there, guys. But I know we're gonna be getting Javonte Williams and Breece Hall questions here, so I just wanted to kind of address that right off the bat. All right, on to the next one here. Albert wants to know full PPR: Christian Kirk or Drake London, boys? I'll let you go first, Down.
Give me Drake London here. I'm a little bit worried with Christian Kirk because we've seen him work best in the slot. And if he's playing the slot and 3 wide receiver sets, he's going to be matched up with Kenny Moore this week. And I don't love that. And are we sure Christian Kirk is going to start in 2 wide receiver sets, or is it going to be Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones? So I'm down on Kirk a little bit. So I'm going to lean Drake London here. Jordan, how about yourself?
I'm going to go Christian Kirk here. Conversely, I'm a little bit lower on Ridley than everybody else. I'm not sure he's going to step right back in and just be that guy he was before. Even the year before he took the full year off, he wasn't really himself that few games before he took the year off, I think he said he kind of had some personal stuff that he was dealing with. Meanwhile, we've seen Christian Kirk for the last 2 years now just continue to overperform, what he's expected to do. I think that Christian Kirk here, especially full PPR, I think he's going to come in here 6 to 8 catches, probably 60 to 70 yards and score here today. Plus, I like the matchup better there, going against the Colts defense.
I agree with Jordan on this one. And the fact that it's full PPR kind of like swings me to the scale of Christian Kirk more. We know Drake London and that Falcons offense are not going to pass very much. So we'd be happy if London even got 5 to 6 catches, where Christian Kirk could end up with more like 7 to 8, like Jordan was telling us. And it is a little bit better of a matchup here because the Panthers can be ran on. I
think Brian Burns is playing today too, right?
I haven't gotten unless it snuck past me, which is possible. It was expected he was supposed to play, but I haven't seen anything official.
Okay.
Well, we get actives and inactives in 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, we get them in 11:30 EST. So
as of a few minutes ago, he has not taken the field for warmups, but he is in the stadium and will not play in today. So Brian Burns is actually out.
Oh, here we go.
So run the ball, Bijan Robinson to the moon.
Definitely give me Kirk then. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like. Don't get me wrong, I like London. The talent's there. It's just we got to see the offense want to use that talent. That's the problem. And we saw that offense not even want to use Kyle Pitts' talent last year. So it worries me that just one person is going to be left out to dry in this offense. It might be London. It definitely might be London.
Yeah.
All right, on to Tyler here. All right. I think
a lot of us are.
Yeah. Well, he had a follow-up question after this.
I feel you.
But I just wanted to give that there because yes, it is a struggle town with the tight ends. Jackson Smith-Njigba or Antonio Gibson at the flex this week, and he just said it's PPR.
Jordan, I went first last time. You go ahead.
Yeah, go first.
Yeah. I'm going to go Gibson here. There's very few situations I'm not going to play my wide receivers and running backs against Arizona this year. Unless they just come out and just completely surprise me. I think that they're going to be one of the easiest matchups of the year. I had an eliminator pool where I took Washington this week. So I'm pretty much all in on them just coming in and beating them by a good 10, 14 points. I think Gibson's going to have a really, really good week against them this year. Or actually against them this week. JSN, I like him a lot season long. I'm glad that he's already going to be back playing this week. Mm-hmm. But I kind of want to see what that looks there. They still have DK and Tyler Lockett here that are the established guys ahead of them. They have two really good running backs there. So I'll go Antonio Gibson here this week. I think he's going to be pretty close to lock for that 15 to 16 touches. Give me Gibson.
I'm on Gibson too, just because the JSN injury in the training camp, he lost a little bit of reps with Geno Smith, which just means Lockett and DK is going to just eat even more. I really don't expect there to be many drops this week by Seahawks receivers because of that Rams defense being mostly undrafted free agents. And I think they just kind of ease JSN into it off of that injury. So I'm with Gibson, even though I don't think it's a great matchup for Gibson, just because Gibson on the Commanders is set up for a negative game script, and they're probably going to be in a positive game script all day where it's going to be Brian Robinson usually, probably in there, but hopefully they sprinkle in some Antonio Gibson more.
Yep, I'm with you guys. Give me Gibson for everything you said.
Clean sweep.
All right. Where'd they go? I can't find my comments.
Producer Mike, host
there it is.
Mike. Come on.
There it is.
You act like you're doing too many things.
Oh man, this news was a bummer a couple days ago when this one came
I know
in.
with Christian Watson being ruled out, but he needs a wide receiver too, and I'm sure he's not the only one. Does he go Juju Smith-Schuster or is he going Allen Lazard against the Bills?
I'll go Juju here. Same answer as earlier. A lot of the same reasons as Bateman. I think Lazard is a little bit of a boom bust play here. I'll go Juju.
Wouldn't be surprised if Lazard gets a touchdown, honestly, with it being the first week. It's just not it wouldn't be at all. It's just not. There's not going to be the same amount of volume there as there is with Juju in that offense. So just a higher floor for Juju and probably and higher ceiling for Lazard still.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like their stat line's going to end up pretty similar, and it's just
fantasy point wise, it's going to be the same.
Guy's going to catch a touchdown, so
it's probably going to be
tough to say. And if I bank in, if I need a tiebreaker, I'm going to go with the quarterback and Aaron Rodgers over Mac Jones. So I'm going to go Allen Lazard there, actually.
Oh, okay.
All right, on to the next. This is a good one. With Andrews out, he's debating with himself. Is it Chig Okonkwo or Isaiah Likely? And I'll just answer first. I was talking actually with Ike last night about this. He's one of our rankers over for Fantasy Six Pack in the consensus rankings, and he was actually telling me before he made his adjustments today, Isaiah Likely was at tight end 7 with Mark Andrews out. The stats he was telling me about Isaiah Likely scoring about averaging 16 points a game when given the starter reps. I mean, if it was a different tight end, I'd say the other tight end, but it's Isaiah Likely for me.
Yeah, same here. I'm gonna go Likely. The Titans, who do the Titans have? Do they have the Saints? Yeah, I think the Saints are going to be a pretty solid defense this year. I'm low on the Tennessee offense. I mean, this is the one group that I'm fully prepared to admit that like in 3 weeks, I may just look back and be like, wow, I was wrong about this group because I think that they're going to be pretty disappointing. I think that by the end of this year, you're already going to see the Titans kind of transitioning to like that Will Levis or maybe even Malik Willis era as they kind of go to the youth movement here. Meanwhile, Isaiah Likely, I think he's going to step right in. I think he's, they're supposedly moving to a more pass happy offense this year. No Mark Andrews. We've already seen the stats when, he's out last year, likely another year, playing with Lamar. Give me him.
Yep. Give me Likely as well.
I like it. See what I did there?
I like
it. It was total dad joke, and I'm not even a dad. All right, Travis. Hey, Travis. He works for the. He works for the site. I know, man. This is a good one. DJ Moore against the Packers. Tyler Lockett against the Rams, or Jahan Dotson against the Cardinals in his flex PPR. This must be a pretty loaded dynasty team here.
If anyone knows me, I've been touting DJ Moore all offseason, but this week it's not a great matchup. As when we were talking with Joe, he's going to see a lot of Jair Alexander, so that's not great. So I think I'm going to actually go with the boring name and go with Tyler Lockett in a good matchup against the Rams.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Where are you going with this, Mike?
I mean, I'm out on Dotson this week just because he's probably not going to be needed against the Cardinals.
Okay.
I trust Dotson the rest of the season, but I mean, just against the Cardinals, any team that plays them, they're probably just going to be running it down their throats because they don't need to pass against them. Mm-hmm. I kind of lean Dylan's side with this, and I almost want to. I want to go Lockett. It's not that I don't like DJ Moore. It is a combination of just a new home, new quarterback, and a pretty tough matchup against Jair. I mean, being a Packers fan, I know how sticky Jair can be on a fast receiver. So that really can, slow down DJ Moore. So I'm just going to play it safe and go with Tyler Lockett against a pretty shitty secondary in the Rams.
This is a close one here for me. And just kind of similar to what I said earlier, most weeks against Arizona, I'm going to start my guys. So Dotson was strongly in consideration here. But I'm a big believer in the theory that especially early when you haven't had a lot of data to analyze, you start your studs. I'm going to go DJ Moore here. I know they brought him in. He's the number one option there in the passing game. Jair Alexander is one of the best defenders on that side of the ball. But I still think that Moore is going to be getting, even if he doesn't get a ton of targets, I think most of the targets in the passing game are going to go to him. Yeah. So until there's data to prove otherwise, I'm starting my studs. I'm going to go with DJ Moore here.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Tyler Lockett's still considered a stud.
Sure, so absolutely, yeah.
It's just DJ Moore's a little bit more studlier.
I think so.
On to the next here. Joseph wants to know, PPR flex, Antonio Gibson or Zay Flowers? We're going to trust the rookie out the gate, Dylan?
Yeah, we are. Give me Zay Flowers here.
I hate you for saying that.
Really good matchup, man, against Houston. And no
Andrews is out.
They could use him in the middle of the field now, and we saw it in the preseason, man. You just get the ball in his hands, and he is electric. So give me Zay Flowers.
Yeah, he was my wide receiver 3 in this rookie class coming in, and then I love the landing spot. Whenever it seemed like he got a little down on him when they brought in like OBJ. It's just like, we'll see how long he's healthy. Like Zay Flowers is going to be the dude here by the end of the year. And the way it's lined up now, Andrews is out. We may get to see him be the dude like from week 1. Give me Zay Flowers here.
I just can't. I don't want to pull the trigger on the rookie in week 1. I didn't even want to pull.
Come on.
It's going to be a shit show in that game for the Commanders and the Cardinals. I really don't even think the Cardinals score any points. Honestly, I really don't. So I still go ahead.
No, I was finish it. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I still think Gibson's gonna be involved a little bit on the running game. Mm-hmm. It's just like he just may not get involved in the passing game, and that's where you're really gonna see his value this year.
Yep.
God, I'm gonna regret it, but give me Flowers. I usually go the running back in the flex spot, but give me Flowers.
You're not gonna regret it. Come on.
I'm gonna regret it.
I don't think you're gonna.
I don't trust rookies in week 1. I just don't, man. It's hard. Not everybody's Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Not everybody is Zay Flowers either, my guy.
That's true.
I love it.
That's true. Connor, another guy working for the site. We appreciate your questions. So we're going to help you out here. He needs 2 wide receivers and a flex here. So we're selecting 3 overall. All right. 2 of them got to be a wide receiver though.
Yeah. Okay.
Jordan, I'll let you go first. We got George Pickens, Marquise Brown, Michael Thomas, Jamal Williams. Who's the odd man out here?
Okay, so let me think here. So the Saints, we got Kamara out today. Kendra Miller's out today. So we got Jamal Williams. Who else is there? We got there in that backfield today. Basically just him, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Am I missing someone?
I don't know who the other guy is because they never signed Kareem Hunt, even though there was talks about it. Yeah, I'm not sure who else it is. That's why I think it's Jamal Williams' backfield this week.
Okay, so I'm for sure starting Pickens, and I'm going to go Marquise Brown. I'm pretty sure I saw that he's in today. So I'm going to go those two. Actually, no, take that back. I'm going to go Pickens, Jamal Williams in my flex, and I think I'm going to go Michael Thomas here. I think he's one of those guys that anytime he's healthy, you start him, and then just you better have a backup because at some point he's probably going to miss time. So yeah, I'm going to go Pickens, Thomas, and then Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
Tony Jones Jr. behind Jamal Williams.
That makes sense.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah.
Kirk Merrifield, I think, was the other one.
Oh, love that
Tony
guy.
Jones Jr.
I don't know who that is.
Tony Jones Jr. is pretty much the backup today for them. I mean, I didn't even realize that, but yeah, with Kendra Miller ruled out too, like Jamal Williams is probably going to get a very heavy workload. So he is going to be my flex choice for you.
Yeah.
No, normally I don't like to pair up guys on the same team, but I still want to go Michael Thomas because I trust him in week 1, because last year in week 1 he was wide receiver 8.
Good. Yep.
So I mean, as long as he's healthy out the gate, he should be good. It's just once he's injured, then you
upgraded quarterback, offense should be better.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even get the full attention anymore because it's Chris Olave on the other side getting it. And then I don't want either of these two decisions between George Pickens and Marquise Brown. One plays the 49ers. One plays the 49ers and has a tough matchup, is only the deep threat, and one plays for the Cardinals. Though, yeah, I will edge out George Pickens, but it's not by much, considering Marquise Brown is the number 1 in that offense.
If they would have started my guy Clayton Tune, I would have been more likely to go Marquise Brown, but I'm not sure about this Josh Dobbs stuff.
I mean, I'll be honest, you're the only reason I know of Clayton Tune. So
everyone will know him in a few weeks.
But it's George Pickens, Michael Thomas, and Jamal Williams for me. Connor. Dylan, did you give your answer yet?
No, I didn't. I'm going George Pickens, Marquise Brown, and Jamal Williams. It should be no surprise because I was quoted this offseason saying that I would rather eat human feces than deal with Michael Thomas.
That was not the quote. That was not the quote. You are paraphrasing.
But yeah.
I'm out on Michael Thomas. I just can't do it. So
that's fair. That's called recency bias, and that's what kills you in fantasy football.
I mean, I get it, man. There's like some guys that are like that. Like Allen Robinson could have landed with like the Chiefs this year, and there's no way I would have started him after how bad he just crushed me everywhere last year. Like, so I get it, man.
That's fair. I get that. All right. On to the next here. PPR flex position. Ooh, I like this one. Raheem Mostert or Brandon Ayuk. And I think I know your answer, so I'm just going to give you mine first, and it's Mostert. With Jeff Wilson and A-Chain out, Mostert assumes the full workload in a game that has actually, I mean, with the Chiefs and Lions game now over, this is the game with the highest projected point total, which leaves a lot on the table for Mostert with Jeff Wilson on the IR and A-Chain ruled out. All they got is Salvin Ahmed behind him. So I go Mostert.
I'm going to go Ayuk here.
Gordon?
Ayuk, man. I think he's going to be the number 1 target getter in this offense this year. I like the matchup there. I think that he's going to have a pretty good game this week. Mostert's solid, but man, the Chargers defense as of now, they're healthy. I think that they're going to be a little bit better than expected. Ayuk's the guy that I'm going to want pretty much every week in this offense until proven otherwise. I think Kittle's going to play, but he's been banged up, hasn't really practiced in full all week. So this week especially, I'm firing up Brandon Ayuk. He better do good. He's my most owned player across all my leagues. So maybe I'm just trying to speak it into existence, but give me Ayuk here.
I'm slightly on the Jordan side as well. You guys know I love Brandon Ayuk, and I also agree. I think he's going to be the number 1 target getter on this offense. So give me Ayuk, even though Mostert is a very good play as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I am starting Mostert in like 2 or 3 leagues, so I'm not out on him by any means. I'm very in on Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, and I guess this is why I'm going Mostert, because I am not in on Ayuk.
You also said you kind of like to go the running back in the flex.
The running back in the flex.
Yeah, he's
I
a weird guy.
I mean,
in a PPR league, you get more volume.
He's guaranteed, probably at minimum, he should be guaranteed 10 touches, assuming he doesn't get hurt, which you can't say the same for Ayuk there. So I can understand that logic and just getting the guaranteed touches there.
It's volume.
The best chance to get fantasy points is getting the ball, and so he's going to have a chance to get the ball today. So
in my opinion, too, he has a better opportunity than Ayuk to score a touchdown this week as well.
See, I don't know, man. The Chargers defense, while they're healthy, man, I think that they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, but I just think the offense will be flying. Like, it's one of those things where Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are just going to be taking off, and all it takes is a 1-yard tackle. Yeah. You know what I mean? And Mostert's in the end zone because they're going to be doing some, pre-snap formation movement to where Mostert gets a free lane to the end zone.
Right, yeah.
Oh, this one's a good one. Alex, PPR, Kenneth Walker or Najee Harris? Kenneth Walker plays the Rams. Najee Harris against the Niners.
Gross. Totally gross. I don't love either guy, but I'm going to go Kenneth Walker. I've kind of been hating on Najee recently, just saying we're not sure if he's good. He's just a volume play. And there was talk this morning. I got an update on Twitter that
I got that too. I didn't like seeing
50-50 split with
I didn't like
between
seeing
him and Warren because Jalen Warren's pretty good, guys. So give me Kenneth Walker here, even with Charbonnet in the backfield as well. And Walker wasn't somebody I was targeting in any drafts this year, so I don't have any shares with him. So it's easy for me to say to start him when I don't have him, but that's where I go.
I'd start him in this situation over Najee Harris against the Niners. Niners their defense is really good against the run. All last year, they didn't allow one 100-yard rusher. I mean, they didn't allow more than, they didn't allow the totality of the rushing yards that running backs collected against them. They didn't allow over 1,000 yards. So it's hard to run against this.
Yeah,
this squad.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid how good they were against the run last year.
That's crazy. Yeah. Okay.
They didn't even allow 1,000 rushing yards.
Or 100 yards in any game. Yeah.
I had heard that one, but I guess I never put together the other one. I guess mathematically that makes sense, but crazy. All right. For me, I'm going to be boring here. I'm going to go Kenneth Walker. As one of my buddies, Matt, would say, I'm like the biggest Najee hater pretty much since he's came in the league. And I pretty much maintain that his fantasy production has just came on volume. Even last year, I think he's like top 12 in most leagues, but he averaged under 4 yards a carry. This year, you bring in Jalen Warren. I don't know that I necessarily believe it's going to be 50-50, but I do think that Warren's going to take away enough that volume could come down a little bit to where Najee falls from that kind of back end RB1 to where he's more kind of like your solid RB2 most weeks. Kenneth Walker, man, he's explosive when he gets it. The biggest issue with him is, the way his playing styles, you got to worry about him getting hurt just because, he likes to go, he likes to initiate contact. But while he's healthy, I think that he's going to be a big focal point of this offense, even with those 3 receivers there in Seattle. So give me Kenneth Walker.
I almost think it might be like an addition by subtraction thing for Najee. Like, yes, his efficiency hasn't been great with the volume, but maybe if some of the volume is taken away, it lets him be a little bit more fresh to where his efficiency does climb with getting some of that volume taken away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
sure.
But I am afraid of Kenneth Walker getting injured because he had been battling a groin injury all, training camp, preseason. I mean, yeah, he doesn't carry an injury designation now, but like Jordan says, he likes to initiate contact, and it's just as easy to get hurt again, and then Charbonnet's in there just ruining your day.
I think it's really like, what do you want? Do you want floor or ceiling here? Because I think, it's kind of similar to the motion conversation. Najee's going to get 10 to 15 touches guaranteed.
It's just that's an ugly
It's a rough matchup, yeah.
It's a floor made of hot lava. You don't want to touch it.
The floor is lava. Just a quick inactive, guys. I know not a big name here, but Cordero Patterson is inactive today with a thigh, so just more touches for Bijan.
Inactive due to not being as good as the rest of the running backs on the roster.
With Kelsey being out this week, I really need Bijan to go off. We got another one. George Kittle officially active.
All right.
But is he going to be fully active or is he going to be decoy active? That's kind of what I'm wondering.
I like that term.
Could be a decoy guy. For
I'm
sure.
gonna. I have one league where I'm starting Irv Smith over him. Like I don't know.
I don't know about Irv Smith though. That if you had Juwan Johnson, maybe even the Dulcich conversation, I could get behind
I don't know, man. Like, look at what Hayden Hurst did in that off last year. Or Hayden Hurst was a solid play for them last year, and I think Irv Smith is more talented when he's healthy. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Hayden Hurst did all right. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like most of those weeks were when T. Higgins had his issues, trying to stay on the field as well.
I can't say for sure enough to debate you, so we'll just say maybe.
I'm to be honest, it is a little bit of a guess here, but here's my thing though. The tight end is an option in that offense. It's not included in that offense. You know what I mean? It's just an option where George Kittle is a part of that offense. They're going to design plays for him, is what I'm getting at.
Sure.
But yeah, man, that's a tough choice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on here. There we go.
All right,
Next question. King Va, Cam Akers or James Cook?
I think it's Cam Akers.
All right.
And I love James
go
Cook.
first.
But it's Cam Akers, but because I don't love the matchup for James Cook here. Seattle's run defense isn't spectacular, and Akers is going to see the volume, in my opinion, in that backfield. And last year when he got the volume, we saw him be an absolute stud last year at the back end of the season, winning people fantasy championships. I know it was ugly to get there up until the back half of the season, but give me Akers to start the year this year because of the matchup James Cook sees against the Jets.
I'm going to go the opposite direction on this one, actually. I'm going to go James Cook here. I don't think Cam Akers is that good. I think Seattle's defense is going to be improved this year. I think James Cook is going to get the lion's share of the touches.
There's just one problem, Happy. You're not any good.
Oh, come on now. Yeah, no, give me James Cook here. I think that he's going to have a pretty solid week here. Doesn't say for sure if this is PPR or not, but assuming it is, yeah, definitely give me James Cook here.
Love me some James Cook. Yeah, it's just the matchup scares me there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he did not specify if it was half or full. That one is a changing or deciding factor for me, because if it's full, I'm going James Cook, and if it's half, I'm going Cam Akers.
Right on.
I don't know, man. Just not a big Cam Akers guy. Just think that whole offense is going to be bad this year.
It is. It's ugly. Don't watch it. Just and
you're already out. They're already down Cooper Kupp. It can get gross there.
But what do you guys say we show some love to our Discord members over in fantasy6pack.net/Discord and throw some of their questions in here? We got one. Jahan Dotson or Drake London here. We haven't really talked a whole lot of Dotson, and he's kind of an exciting guy here. So, Mike LaPlant, let's let you start here, my
friend. I'm kind of down on both this week, but I lean Drake London.
Okay.
I mean, as a safer play, Jahan Dotson as a ceiling play because he's more likely to score the touchdown. But if he does score a touchdown, it's going to be early, and then he's going to be phased out of the game. So I think the safer play is just playing Drake London here. I think there's just, as stupid as it sounds in that offense, there's a little bit more volume guaranteed this week, just this week.
Okay. I'm going to go. This is a tough one. I'm going to go Dotson here, I think. I think this is going to be a little bit of a Sam Howell kind of coming out party this week. I think that they're going to jump up on him pretty big early. I could see Dotson getting a touchdown there. I know Terry McLaurin, they say he's active. He's been practicing in full, but, he's coming off of a toe injury, so I could see them kind of not necessarily getting eased back in, but I could see them maybe directing some targets elsewhere this first week just to kind of get him back into it. It's going to be Dotson here, but it is close. It's very close. I would say they're probably within a few spots.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely agree with you guys here. And then we got some more from Ron Rainey here. He's a big-time member in the Discord. He's always chopping it up with us. It's always a lot of fun with him. He goes, pick 2. We got Terry McLaurin, Jordan Addison, Nico Collins. Jordan, you could go.
I'll go the first 2, McLaurin and Addison.
Yeah, McLaurin and Addison. Nico Collins this week against the Ravens. That's going to be a tough matchup. Not going to be fun to watch.
I'm going to have a hard time trusting anyone really in that Texans offense outside of Dameon Pierce really this first week.
Yeah, and I do like Dalton Schultz this week. I talked about it with Joe a little bit because they're going to be down for most of the game. There's going to be I feel like there's going to be some pass volume for CJ Stroud and maybe Dalton Schultz as a safety blanket for.
Sure, I can see that.
Here's a question I got for you guys, and I guarantee there's somebody out there going through this. Dalton Schultz or Isaiah Likely?
Give me Dalton Schultz because what I just said.
I do lean Dalton Schultz a little bit more, and that's in that.
The industry is going to tell you Isaiah Likely.
Yes,
100%.
they are. They are. But I lean
Schultz,
man. I lean the volume. I chase volume in this game.
Yeah. It's
a tough one. It's a tough one.
I think I put Cousin Schultz in there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that was another one me and Ike were talking about last night because he's like, "Yeah, I got Schultz and I picked up Likely." I was like, "Man, if I was you, I'd be playing Schultz." He goes, "I'm playing Likely."
Yeah.
I mean, the upside play there is Likely. I mean, he's the better athlete for sure, but I do think that there's a good chance that Schultz comes away with 4 catches and 40 yards is kind of like his floor in this offense most weeks.
I agree. Next one we got here is from Ron Rainey as well. We got Amari Cooper, Drake London, or Brian Robinson. I'll start for this one, and I'm just going to go with the wide receiver one in Cleveland. Give me Amari Cooper. Even though we've seen him be inconsistent throughout his career on a weekly basis, I'm still totally okay going with him here.
Oh, bye, Mike. Sorry, I got distracted there. What were my options there again? Sorry.
We got Amari Cooper, Drake London, or Brian Robinson.
Oh, Amari, man. I've been like one of the biggest Amari supporters since he came in. It was amazing early in the career getting to see him get freed from the shackles of the Raiders and come to Dallas and blow up. I was so sad when we let him go. I was not surprised to see him put up a top 10 season last year. Expecting more of the same this year. Give me Amari Cooper pretty easily in this one.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
Next one we got Drake London, Jahan Dotson, Mike Evans.
Let's see. Who's Tampa Bay got? They got Minnesota.
Yep. Good matchup for Mike Evans. We talked about that with Joe. Joe actually has Evans pretty high in his rank. He's wide receiver 22 this week.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think in this case, yeah, give me Evans here. Yeah, I'll go Evans here. It's pretty close between him and Dotson, but I'll give the edge to Evans just because I feel more. How do I put this? Okay, I feel more secure that he's going to have a role today, even though I think that there's a good chance that Dotson sees more targets than Evans does today.
Yeah, and I think I lean that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, we got Debo or Rachaad White in the flex, and I totally get the Debo skepticism here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I still lean him slightly.
Yeah, I faded Debo. I don't have him in any leagues. I agree.
Same.
I was pretty consistent across the board that I think Ayuk's the wide receiver one there this year. That being said, it was Debo or Rachaad White, you said? Give me Debo. It's close, but I'll go Debo here. I think it's another situation of you start your studs. I do think Sean Taylor is going to be a little bit more of a nuisance than people are thinking there in the backfield in Tampa Bay. I liked him a lot in the pre-draft process. It sounds like, his main issue was he had kind of a heart issue that popped up, so that's why he went undrafted. But I think the talent is there to where it's going to be a little bit of not a 50-50 split, but it is going to be a committee there. So give me Debo this week, but I feel dirty about it.
LaPlant, Debo or Rachaad White?
Is it PPR, half PPR?
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
Use your imagination.
I lean Rachaad White.
Oh, okay.
I go Rachaad White. Guaranteed volume there. Sean Tucker's the number 2 behind him. I just think, Baker's the quarterback. If things get hairy, he's going to dump it off to Rachaad White. It wouldn't be surprised if he gets like 8 targets this week, plus, 15 carries. And you're playing the Vikings, guys. I mean, they were the number 2 best matchup last year when playing your position players. So, and they didn't really do much to change it. So, Rachaad White. All and right. Hopefully I'm not lagging or delayed right now.
You're okay.
Crystal clear over here.
Yep.
For now. Got another one in here.
We do have one. Yeah. Yep. What's up, Vito? PPR. Chico Okonkwo or Greg Dulcich?
Give me Greg here. Give me Greg.
You're definitely picking at the bottom of the barrel.
Chig here, but don't feel awesome about it either way. In this case, I feel confident that Chig's going to be the starter, get the most reps there at the tight end spot where Dulcich, it's kind of a little bit shaky. Give me Chig here, but again, kind of like in that Devo category, I feel dirty about it.
I think it's in the realm of possibility for Greg Dulcich to be the number 2 target getter on this offense with all the injuries. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's in the realm of possibilities.
Sure. I mean, we saw it last year. He can catch passes, yeah.
I don't think that's going to be Chig, and I don't think a ton of volume is going to be coming his way, so actually give me Dulcich here.
Okay.
I know this isn't, the same coaching staff as last year, but man, when I see a Broncos tight end, all I can think is Alberto. But I agree with Jordan on this one. It's just a little bit safer going Chico Okonkwo, in my opinion, because they do have some other tight ends behind Dulcich that I'm sure Sean Payton's going to involve. And I wouldn't be shocked if he gets vultured in the red zone, where Dulcich is the in between the 20s guy getting the yards, but he's not getting the high value targets in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Ooh, got another one here.
Let's go. Keep them coming, guys. We still got like 10 more minutes. Let's get it going.
Yep.
Start 2. We got the Cook brothers, Dalvin Cook, James Cook, Cam Akers, or Javonte Williams. And I'll go first. You can throw out Javonte Williams with these 3 other options.
Mistake.
In my opinion, you can throw them out. I think you start Dalvin Cook, and we already went through this before with James Cook and Cam Akers. If it's half PPR, I go Cam Akers as the second one. If it's PPR, I go James Cook as the second one.
Why Dalvin Cook over the other 2, though? Can I ask you that?
Because Dalvin Cook is going to get the bulk of the share today. Now, granted, it's not a good matchup, but Aaron Rodgers does like to throw to the running back. All right, he's smart enough to know, and he's not athletic enough anymore to go pick up those, first downs. And I think he wants to stay healthy to help his Jets, make it to a deep run of the playoffs, which I doubt it's going to happen. But Dalvin Cook because of this week, but as soon as Breece Hall gets more incorporated into it, then it's like Dalvin Cook's more on the back end of like our, back end RB2.
Right. Jordan, where are you going?
So I'm going to go 1 Dalvin Cook here. All the stuff Mike said. I mean, then plus, Aaron Rodgers has seen Dalvin Cook play up close for how many years?
He wanted him. He wanted him.
The Jets consulted with him and kind of like, hey man, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, like let's get that guy in here. So let's get Dalvin Cook in there for sure. And then man, I gotta go with my guy here, ride or die. I'll go Javonte Williams in my second spot here.
Yeah, I get it. I can't get there with Dalvin, though. I think Breece Hall's the more talented back at this point, so I think it's going to be a 50-50 split at least.
Do you think right out the gate it's 50-50?
Yeah, I do, Jordan. I really do. I'm going to go James Cook for 1, and I'm going to go Cam Akers as the other. We talked about the volume for Akers earlier.
All right. I will just mention it, just one more time. LCL, PCL, and ACL tear for Javonte Williams.
You beat that horse.
I will mention it. We're going to get like 80 yards and a touchdown.
Ooh, speaking of existence, let's go.
3 crucial ligaments.
Some more stuff in our Discord. Make sure you guys check it out. I'm telling you, anyone who's watching on YouTube right now, the Discord's where it's at. And if you are watching it on YouTube, smash that like button. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We really do appreciate it. The next question we got is from Josh Stevens. We got Alexander Madison, Rachaad White, Deontay Johnson, I'm assuming, and Rondale Moore. Pick 1 running back to start and 1 flex play. We got Madison, Rachaad White, Deontay Johnson, and Rondale Moore.
You get 2 running backs to choose from for the 1. Rachaad White and Madison.
So basically pick 1 running back and then 1 of the leftovers.
Rachaad White over Madison for me. No.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say,
I take that back. I take that back. Give me Madison because there's more. They have the same volume, in my opinion. Except Madison probably has a better opportunity to score a touchdown, so that just kind of edges me out a little bit now the more that I think about that. So Madison over Rachaad, and then who are the receivers?
Deontay, Rondale Moore, and you can still go Rachaad White, the flex.
Ooh. Yeah, with Deontay Johnson going against the Niners. Yeah, he's going to
be thrown on, though, Mike, and he's going to see a ton of volume because you can't run on him. That's why I think you have to have Deontay Johnson in your lineup, him and George Pickens.
Yeah, this is,
Man, I'm more worried about the pass rush getting to Kenny Pickett and not having the time to throw.
Now that they're a fired up team that just got Nick Bosa back too. Yeah,
that's what I'm more afraid of is the time to pass the ball. And like if that's the case, that's going to benefit Najee Harris and probably Pat Freiermuth getting the underneath stuff. Give me Deontay Johnson, though, just because there is good volume there. He's probably going to get 10-plus targets, and hopefully that touchdown regression hits fast in week 1.
Yeah, the flex spot here is easy for me. Don't overthink it. Get Deontay Johnson in there. He's gonna get peppered with targets here. Even whether it's closer or it's a blowout, I think he's gonna get targets either way there. So put him in at the flex spot. Running back's a little bit closer here. I can kind of see why you went back and forth on it a little bit, but yeah, I'm gonna go Madison here too. They just don't really have anybody behind him that I believe in.
Same with Rachaad White, though. I mean, unless you believe in Tucker.
I do think that Tucker's a good talent. The only reason he went undrafted is a heart issue. Like, it wasn't a talent issue there.
And heart issue affects the talent, though.
But it's a running back, man. You're not looking at a running back for 2 years from now. You're looking at a running back for right now. So, like I said before, it's not going to be a 50-50 split, but I do think that Sean Tucker is going to get enough to where it's not 100% of the work to White. That being said, though, I'll still go Madison here. You look back at the games that he played without Dalvin Cook, and he put up good numbers. He's a volume play. He's one of the guys that gets better the more carries he gets, the more he wears the defense down. He's in a spot now where he should be the guy that gets the majority of the touches. It wouldn't be surprised if he breaks that 20 carry mark this week. So yeah, give me Madison and Deontay Johnson here.
Yep, 100% with Jordan here with everything he
said. That was a tough one, though. That was a tough one to side with, because I do think like playing the both running backs from that matchup wouldn't be terrible. Rachaad White and Alexander Madison, but Deontay Johnson is a little bit safer.
Yeah.
And then, guys, this one wasn't a start-sit question, but I feel like we should talk this one out for A.A. Rogers in our Discord, because he's always in there and chopping it up with us as well. And he asked, should I trade Christian Watson for Cooper Kupp?
Ooh, is it in this redraft?
Yes, it was in the redraft section in Discord.
Ooh, man.
I mean, it's a risk either way.
Yeah.
Because you're trading for an injured person on IR right now, and it's a hamstring injury.
I wish I knew the rest of the wide receiver depth on there.
I mean, here's the thing, though. If you, in your truest heart, think that Cooper Kupp will be fine and they did the right thing with putting him on the IR and he's going to recover just fine, go for it. But if you don't think that injury is going to go away, because it is a hamstring injury, they linger, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I would say if like you're in a spot where you're using Christian Watson as like your flex or like one of your first receivers off the bench, then I would say go for it. If he's like more like you need production right away, I think you go Watson there and hope he's back next week. But then again, you're swinging for the fences with Kupp. If he comes back week 5, that's a league winner right there. Yeah, I think you got to do it, and then you just kind of hope for the best, man. Just hope he's back in week 5, ready to rock. But it's another one, man. You're living on the edge with that one either way.
Yeah, you don't like trading for guys with hamstring injuries.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I guess at least you're giving away a guy with a hamstring injury at the moment too. So it's just whose hamstring do you like to come back better, the young guy or the dude that's like a legit superstar when he's there?
But also like 30 years old.
Right, exactly. That's head. Yeah. How dangerous do you like to live?
Dylan, you're 30 years old. How's your hamstring feeling?
My hamstrings feel fine. It's just my back and my foot and everything else.
That's probably due to the hamstring, though.
Just to put my 2 cents in, just to touch on it a little bit, I'm terrified of the Cooper Kupp injury. He might not, and if they're really bad, he might only play a handful of games this year. So give me Christian Watson, even though he's someone I don't own a ton of. I was fading this offseason at where he was going. But I think I would rather keep Watson on the roster than have to deal with an aging Cooper Kupp.
The nerve issue, the potential nerve issue in the hammy, that does make me nervous about it. So I can understand. Like if it was a dynasty, there's no way I would do. I'm definitely keeping Watson there.
And then you also throw in the fact that the Rams are going to be bad this year, and they could just shut them down altogether. Why
do you really think that would happen? Or I have a hard time seeing Sean McVay just punting on the year. He just doesn't seem like that type of coach, man.
I don't think he punts on the year. I think he punts on his star player, bringing him back for no reason.
I don't know, man. Maybe. I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, why bring back Cooper Kupp if you're sitting there at 1-6, or even 1-4?
Do you think they're going to
5?
Are they going to bench Stafford at that point too? Then, because I mean, I feel like as long as you have Stafford out there, I don't know why you wouldn't play Kupp if he's healthy.
Yeah, well, the quarterback's a little bit different though, because I mean, it is a bigger downgrade to go from Stafford to Stetson Bennett than from Cooper Kupp to Van Jefferson. In my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. Cooper Kupp, when Cooper Kupp's right, I mean, he was ahead of Justin Jefferson pace-wise.
No, you're right, but the quarterback runs the entire offense. He's what's getting the players in the correct positions. Stafford's getting Cooper Kupp in the correct spot, or throwing it to the spot where he believes is going to be open. Where even if you had Cooper Kupp and Stenson Bennett, there's going to be some miscues there type of deal. Where I do agree with you, Sean McVay's probably not going to punt on the season, but I don't think he wants to just throw his guy out there if he's injured just to try and win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. I look at it. He's looking out for the player safety.
I think we got one more question. Want to get that in before we pass it off?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Richard, Brandon Cooks or Mike Evans, full point PPR?
Give me Mike Evans here. Like I said, I don't love the quarterback play, but it's not a great matchup for the Dallas offense either because the Giants defense is getting better. Brandon Cooks is the number 2 in that offense, but give me Mike Evans because if you drafted him and you're not starting him in this matchup against Minnesota, then what are we doing here? I'm going Mike Evans.
Yeah, I'm going to go Evans here. I like Brandon Cooks as like kind of a prop bet to score a touchdown. I was looking last night and it's like plus something ridiculous. So I do like him as like a sneaky play for a touchdown, but yeah, for PPR fantasy, give me Mike Evans here.
I'm Mike Evans as well. Just a possible number 1 option here compared to the number 2 option in the offense. Just more volume, even though Mike Evans' volume isn't great to watch.
Yeah, I heard that. And then let's just run through a few more real quick that we got from the Discord. Our guy Mace. Need one for the flex to the PPR league. We got Puka Nacua, Raheem Mostert, or A.J. Dillon.
Mostert.
Yep. Jeff Wilson on IR. A-Chain ruled out. All he's got is Salvin Ahmed behind him.
I think A.J. Dillon's like a decent flex play, but yeah, give me Mostert.
Yeah, I am with you guys here. We got another one. This one from December Underground. He's always in the Discord. Talking as well. He's like, I have Lamar as my quarterback. Was going to go Gabe Davis as my flex, but with Andrews out, I don't have him. Should I pivot to Zay Flowers for the stack over Gabe Davis? So it's pretty much Flowers or over Gabe Davis, and he has Lamar at his quarterback.
Yeah, man, give me Zay. I'm here. Give me Zay.
Yep, I'm with you 110% there as well. And it's not a good matchup for the Bills and going up against the Jets.
I think it could be an ugly game with a lot of more defensive people are thinking that one Monday night game.
Yep, and we saw Gabe Davis last year struggle to separate, and those corners are pretty sticky, so it's going to be tough.
All right, so I'm not trying to cut us off here, but we do have
It is time.
Yeah, we do have our next segment up here, and this is probably the piece de resistance of the segment. This is the DFS start. So
yes, sir.
Before we get them in here, and I'll give them a proper introduction.
I like it.
I'm a wordsmith.
Yeah, poet.
But before we go, Dylan, let us know where we can find your stuff this year.
Yeah, guys, I'm writing for Fantasy Six Pack. You can check out my waiver article and waiver video that's going to be posted on the YouTube channel Tuesday. So make sure you check that out, and then you can check us out on the YouTube channel as well. Friday nights, as Mike LaPlant, myself, and Ike Bonnie are doing the game previews each and every week. So make sure you check us out there.
All right, Jordan, where can we find you, and what are you doing this season?
Same. So far, everything is going to be on Fantasy Six Pack. I got Dynasty rankings and rookie rankings that I'll update there every 2 weeks. Don't do anything on the redraft side there, except for I'll do this weekly show here every Sunday with you guys. Every Monday, I'll have my Dynasty podcast that'll come out here on YouTube. Most weeks we're going to go live with it. We may have a few that are recorded. We just post on Monday, but for the most part, we'll be going live for the Dynasty show on Monday. So if you guys have any questions there, tune on in, give me those questions there. But yeah, other than that, I got my ranks. I'll write a few articles here. Every Monday morning, I'll have a recap written of like the biggest fantasy takeaway from every single game. So that should be you guys should all be having that tomorrow morning available on the site there. So yeah, everything. Yeah, just come on to subscribe to Fantasy Six Pack, like the YouTube channel, become a member, and you'll see everything I'm doing this year.
Awesome. Love hearing it, and we love hearing all that great content coming out from both of you. Howard, tell you what I'm doing, but I'm just here, just hanging out on the YouTube channel, getting the YouTube stuff going. But without further ado, I'll let you guys go, and I'll do a nice smooth transition here. But
see you next week, guys.
See you next week.
Peace.
All right. So without further ado here, I mean, this is what we came for, and I don't know how they probably appreciate this name, but I'm gonna call them it. I'm going to welcome to the stage the DFS Daddies for Fantasy Six Pack. All right, we got Dave Eddy and we got Chris Robbin here, and let me get there we go. And I'm going to get out of here, guys. All right, you guys enjoy it. Take the time, and go win people some money.
Thanks for the introduction.
But peace out, guys.
All right, Chris, let me switch this around, buddy. We made it.
We made it. We're here after all these weeks and months and days and hours. It is time to roll, time to shine. And if you look up in that corner up here, Fantasy Six Pack's been live for over an hour and 15 minutes. So if you're not here, what the heck are you doing? And I know you wanted to start off with some inactives, and there's some big ones, some things that threw us for a loop, like Mark Andrews was iffy, stuff like that. But I'll let you get to that. And glad everybody's here. And like the previous crew said, this is the piece à la resistance, as they want to say. So
yeah, for sure. So the big part of doing this here is the timing of it is we can get final information, and so the biggest part of that is going to be the inactives. And I'll be honest with the cash lineup, I had something early on Saturday. As news changed, it kind of moved a little bit, and then even this morning it has changed again. So inactives are very important, and that's why this live, this portion of it is critical, because we want to get to the most up-to-date stuff. So I'm not going to run through everything, but I am going to run through, I think, the ones that are impactful in some fashion for cash and MME. Zach Ertz, he is active, so I think that if that's a route you want to take, you can go that route. Marquise Brown is active as well. Cordell Patterson is a surprise to me, inactive. I don't think that's too impactful. I don't think he was going to take much from Bijan, but if you're interested in Algier, that makes for some interesting news. Mark Andrews is probably the biggest one. He is out. That has taken Isaiah Likely not only into my cash pool, but he is now my starting cash tight end. Let's see. Adam Thielen is in. DJ Shark is out. I think we already knew that information. John Mechie is out. I think we knew that as well. Zach Moss officially inactive. So if you want to roll with either Deion Jackson or Evan Hall, it's at least an option there for you. I know we had some chat about that in our Discord channel. Kendre Miller, he is out. So that has taken Jamal Williams and put him high into my cash rankings as well. Later games, we don't have anything yet. Jerry Jeudy, he's questionable. I'm expecting him to probably be out today. Chris, I'll get your opinion on that once I cover a few more of these. Romeo Dobbs, I think he's going to play. He's still listed as questionable. I think he plays, but he's going to be limited. Christian Watson already ruled out, so that puts Jaden Reed and Musgrave both in play as well. And I think that is about what's going to cover the majority of it. Mostly, I'm curious to start off with, Chris, what you think about the Marvin Mims news, with Judy here.
Yeah, that's. I must have glanced over. Is Marvin Mims just a healthy scratch? I didn't catch it in my headphones. Or is he going to be making the start?
No, it looks like Judy is, like I said, he's questionable at best. Is he officially out?
Yeah, in our private chat here, Mr. LaPlant said Jerry Jeudy is out, so I would imagine that Marvin Mims Jr. will be on the field in some form or fashion. The one thing I wanted to mention briefly was I don't know, everybody picks up their own things and their own little lanes and stuff. I was always interested to see what was going to go on in not only the Miami Dolphins backfield, but also the New Orleans Saints backfield. And now Jamal Williams is like the only show in town at running back in that backfield. Granted, granted, a beautiful cash play. Shit, excuse me, he probably could go across the board here. Guy's going to see 20 carries, minimum, get all the goal line work. So that puts Jamal Williams back up at the top of the board here. But to me, we're getting a ton of questions probably left over from the last few segments. What are we doing in this backfield? What are we doing in that backfield? But to me, it's all about the wide receiver today. And again, each week, this is only week one. Each week, it's going to get more interesting and more interesting. In some weeks, we're going to be coming, well, not us, because we're professional. At least I'd like to think, Dave, that, folks are going to be freaking out. And again, this is a DFS show, so we're able to do as we please. We don't have any limits on what to do, where we can go, what all that stuff. So, if guys are out or they're a healthy scratch or a healthy inactive, we can just sweep them to the side and just go down a list and just plug and play guys in here. So, this is it's an exciting way to start the week in a way you don't like to see inactives. And I had a question early this morning about a guy. He said, Mark Andrews, should I pick up Isaiah Likely to just really, give it to the Mark Andrews owner and block him? So, week one, it's not early. You can always start screwing people over if that's the kind of game you want to play. So Isaiah Likely is a nice move, and it's already 10 after 12. So I'd imagine waivers for today have already run.
Yeah, I picked up Likely in a couple of leagues, redraft last night as soon as the news came out. I was actually surprised I was the first one to get there, but that's not where we're talking. And I do want to kind of hit some things as they come in live. So pardon me for interrupting a little bit here, but in our Discord, we got Ron Rainey asking, he says, Jay Williams or R. White in cash lineups. I know you want both, only a $400 difference. I don't know which Jay Williams he's talking about. Let me see, cash-wise, $400 difference. I'm guessing he's talking Jamal Williams. I just want to make sure. So basically he's saying Jamal Williams or Rachaad White. To me, I've got Jamal Williams in my lineup. Once we heard that Miller is out, theoretically, that is Williams' backfield. I think, we might see a little bit of Taysom in there, which can be a little bit scary, because you could see him in at the goal line. And that's where we don't want to see Taysom Hill. We want Jamal to get a lot of carries, but we definitely want him to get the goal line carries. But yeah, so for me, in cash, it's Jamal Williams. For MME, Chris, your opinion probably matters a little more here in this regard. But for me in MME, it's going to be White still. White is in my single entry over Williams, just because it's going to be lower owned, and I think his ceiling is honestly higher. But Williams has a much better floor, in my opinion, which is why I prefer him in cash. What do you think?
Yeah, if it matters, I have Rachaad White, 14 to 15 carries, around 65 to 70 yards on the ground. You're looking at like 4.5 yards a pop. And then let's add in 3 or 4 more receptions for another 20 to 25 yards or so. And when we look at Jamal Williams, it could be Javonte Williams, but let's be honest, it is probably Jamal Williams. And when we look at Jamal, I have him 17 to 18 carries for about 70 to 75 yards. You're looking at around 4.1, 4.2 yards a pop, a couple receptions for about 20 yards. The only kicker here is they're going to be neck and neck in terms of snaps and carries and usage. The only kicker is I have Jamal Williams to find the end zone. So for me, that realistically in DFS and in fantasy football, touchdowns is the end all be all. So yardage, carries, receptions, almost the same across the board. Just give me Jamal Williams to find the end zone, and that'll be the difference in the two guys right there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Let's go ahead and, like I said, we've talked about, it looks like we've actually got some pretty important news that will pop up here real quick. Saying Rashad Penny expected to be a healthy scratch today. That's surprising. Does that change anything for you, though, for this week? Was Gainwell or Swift, somebody like that, already on your radar where this makes a difference for you, or is this kind of surprising but irrelevant?
I think it's very irrelevant, and it is surprising in a certain fashion. Penny could never really catch on as a first-round pick in Seattle. He goes to Philadelphia, and then Philadelphia trades with the Lions. They get Swift in the shocking development right before the draft and all that. And they got rid of Miles Sanders, so now it's Swift and Kenny Gainwell's backfield. Now, I've always been a Kenny Gainwell fan, but to me, we've seen it a million times. We're both Detroit Lions fans, and anybody out there in the world, Swift is a phenomenal athlete when he's able to be healthy and stay on the field. He's always had all these issues like soft tissue stuff, like that nagging foot and toe stuff, kind of along the same lines as Julio Jones. We know what he was about. They, named foot injuries after Julio. And I'm not saying DeAndre Swift is trending that way, but if DeAndre Swift is healthy and active in week 1, Rashad Penny is on the wayside, a healthy scratch, it's going to be Swift and Gainwell. Now, if we compare the two of those, who is the more, full piece complement back, however you want to put it, and it's going to be DeAndre Swift. Personally, that's the guy I would run with, and I have him 7-8 carries. Maybe we get Swift to the 10 carry format here and around 4.5 yards a pop, 4.6. That would be 10 times 4.5 would be 45 yards or so, a couple receptions, and let's say DeAndre Swift finds the end zone on some sort of reception swing pass, so that that Jalen Hurts Swift connection could be very strong.
Yeah, and we got another question here. This is actually from my friend Pat. Him and I used to do the show together, Chris, before I did it solo last year, and then before, obviously, you joined me this year. And he says, David, he goes, talk me out of Aaron Jones today. Who do you like better for the value? So I'm going to just hit this from a cash perspective. Chris, I'll let you take this from an MME perspective. Cash-wise, Pat, Aaron Jones was in my pool initially earlier in the week. He fell out of it pretty quick. You said give me a better value. If you're talking about just salary wise, I mean, I've got Rashad White and I've got Raheem Mostert, both cheaper than him, and expected to projected higher than him as well. You can put Jamal Williams into that same mix. So I like those three guys better strictly for cash. Obviously, I'm not worried about ownership percentage, so I can say Jamal Williams, I can say Raheem Mostert, and not have any sort of jitters about it. But Chris, from an MME perspective, talk to me about Aaron Jones.
Yeah, well, first of all, anything I do, I've told you guys, just in our group chats, I always start with the Vegas lines, the over-unders. And when I look at this Green Bay at Chicago game, over-unders 41.5, I have this final score being very underwhelming, like 17-14, something like that. But again, if Green Bay scores 2 touchdowns, it could be Aaron Jones. I'm not trying to talk anybody out of Aaron Jones because I've always loved the guy, and we've seen him working with Jordan Love out in California all spring and all offseason. But if that's what he wants us to do, I will talk you out of Aaron Jones in a big GPP. I've mentioned him several times. Look at J.K. Dobbins. Baltimore's playing Houston. Houston is dead last against opposing running backs. And on FanDuel, at least, Aaron Jones, $7,200. J.K. Dobbins, $6,500. So to me, that's a pretty sweet trade-off there. And when you look around in terms of FanDuel, this is why the show is going to work so good, Dave. I'm a FanDuel guy. You're a DraftKings guy. So I can speak from one side of the field and you'll cover my ass on the other side. J.K. Dobbins, Travis Etienne is 7-7 on FanDuel, playing a weak Indianapolis Colts defense. But Aaron Jones is right above Kenneth Walker III. Seattle's playing the Rams here. He's only $7,100. But if I had to all in one, Joe Mixon is even cheaper in Cleveland against the Browns. Mixon is even cheaper, 7.5. So to me, Aaron Jones, would I want to not play him? Not necessarily in seasonal formats. It's not a question. You're going to play him, but in DFS formats, I would pivot to J.K. Dobbins in a heartbeat and not think twice.
So I'm not sure this is necessarily DFS related, but I want to try to get to any live comments we can here. So they're asking Jordan Addison or David Njoku for PPR. I mean, we'll just address this maybe from an MME perspective. So in that case, I just think that tight end is somewhere where I'm punting. So I'm going to be much more interested in your Musgraves and your Likeleys, guys like that. So I'm not paying up for Njoku. So for me, by default, the answer there would be Jordan Addison. I think he gets you some nice leverage off of Jefferson because Jefferson, I think, is going to be pretty popular today, like most weeks. So that's my insight there. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. And people ask questions, and I love to get as specific as I can in a timely fashion. David Njoku was mentioned in Bottom of the Barrel that was published yesterday in terms of the tight ends. And if he said this is a PPR kind of league, I have David Njoku 5 or 6 targets, 4 or 5 receptions around that 45-yard mark. And when you look at Addison, I believe, I'm not saying he's going to be a disappointment in week 1, but people are going to be left like wanting more, right? Because they look at Jefferson and then you look at Kirk Cousins and what they can do. And when we look at Addison, I have him same amount of targets, 5, maybe even an extra 6 target, but I have Addison only catching 2 or 3 passes for about 40 yards. So in PPR, you're going to get Njoku with an extra reception or 2, but the yardage is going to be a wash. So to me, I would just run with David Njoku. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm nuts, but I do punt tight ends as well. And when you look at Njoku's price tag on FanDuel, it's not that bad. It's $5,600 in comparison to now the Mark Andrews, who is out. He was the highest price guy at $8,000, but I like Njoku coming fresh off of a breakout season last year. So give me that until we see what we're going to get from Jordan Addison and the rookie.
And got another question here coming in from the Discord. This one says Cortland Sutton, Jordan Addison, Michael Thomas, Dotson, Nico Collins, or Brandon Ayuk. That's a lot. I know that's a lot to rattle off there, but looking for cash. So again, Sutton, Addison, Thomas, Dotson, Nico Collins, Ayuk for cash. For me, it's simple. I've only got one of those guys in my pool, and that's Dotson. So, I can make an argument probably for Sutton. Maybe I can make an argument for Ayuk, but for me, Dotson's the only one that's in my pool, so it's Dotson.
Yeah, those are the only 2 I have written down, and it's Dotson with a bullet right to the top. And when you look at Brandon Ayuk, he's like the 3rd or 4th option in a San Francisco 49ers offense in a game where they're in Pittsburgh. I have Pittsburgh to win almost by 10 points, in San Francisco only scoring twice. Final in Pittsburgh would be around 24-14, something like that. So give me Johan Dotson, who was phenomenal early on in his rookie season, and I'm expecting him to back it up big time this coming year.
Another question here from Dylan coming in hot. He says, Mostert or Rachaad White in tournaments today? Chris, you're going to be the MME guy here, so I'll let you have the first stab at it. I think I've already answered this question, but we can hit it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at Mostert, as I said, instead of just going from the top of my head, it's a little early in the season to do that. If you want to write this stuff down on a pen and a piece of paper so you can use it later on today in about 40 minutes or so, I have Mostert 12-13 carries, about 60 yards. You're looking at almost just shy of probably 5 yards a carry for Mostert in this one, a reception or 2 for another 20 yards. And when I talked about Rachaad White, you want to be consistent. You don't want to tell one guy one thing and a girl another, but I have Rachaad White, as I said, 14 or 15 carries, about 60 to 65 yards, 4.5 yards a pop there, but another reception or 2. So give me Rachaad White in a game where I think Tampa Bay actually hangs a few more points than Miami here.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It's Rachaad White for me as well. I think that White has a higher ceiling than Mostert does here today. Mostert, is probably going to see more carries, I would imagine, but White is superior in the passing game. I think Mostert's going to carry a higher ownership percentage as well. So, I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. Rachaad White in tournaments. I got another question here that says, just James Cook or Samaje Perine. So I guess you can take it how you want to, Chris. I would say a James Cook move there. It sounds like that's a redraft thing. Sounds like Javonte Williams is going to be probably at least 80% of a full go today. So I'm gonna trust James Cook a little bit more. What do you think?
I disagree slightly. When we look at everybody that does these blurbs and this up to the minute action and stuff for both players, last week, Javonte, is he not going to play that big of a role? And then 2 days later, Javante's going to get a large slice of the pie. And in the meantime, Perine's being tossed around. Whatever Javante's not going to do, Samaje Perine is going to do, and vice versa. So regardless, I like Samaje Perine today in a DFS format, like a FanDuel or even DraftKings, where it's PPR scoring, because I have Perine probably not to get as many carries, not even close to a 50-50 timeshare, but I think Perine catches 3 or 4 passes, and what can he do with those in a game where Cincinnati is in Cleveland? And right now, Cleveland doesn't scare me much, and I have this one of the more exciting games of the day, Cincinnati winning this one like 28-24. So we're looking at 6, maybe 7 total touchdowns in this game. What are the chances Perine isn't accountable for at least one of those?
Yeah, it's possible. Next question here from Reggie. He says, McLaurin, Thomas, or Flowers?
Why can't we play all three in DFS? And then you'd be like The Price is Right or Let's Make a Deal. You could do whatever you wanted. You could probably fit in Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, if those are the three wide receivers you wanted to run with. And the truth be told, I don't all this Zay Flowers stuff. I mean, I'm aware of who he is, but obviously with Mark Andrews being out, everybody's just so excited about Zay Flowers. But why do we even play these games? Terry McLaurin is the play. He's, no matter what quarterback is taking the snaps under center in Washington, McLaurin never fails. He gets at 27 to 32% target share. I mean, it's not even close to me. It's Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, and I'll just take this as from an MME perspective. I will say that of that group, Flowers is probably going to garner the most ownership, I would think, with Andrews being out. He does have an interesting upside, but a lot of that is because, we've got an unknown, right? Like we haven't seen Zay Flowers play yet. So I think that leads us to kind of, higher, not expectations, but, just a thought process of what he potentially could do. McLaurin is obviously the safer play. And the reality is he probably has the higher ceiling as well. We've seen what he can do. When he's healthy and on the field, we know he has an elite target share. And there's no reason to think that would change. Michael Thomas is always interesting because, it's been a couple years since we've seen really what he can do. And, Michael Thomas could come out and be an absolute beast. I mean, would it shock anyone for him to get 10 catches for 125 yards and a touchdown today? I wouldn't be shocked, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he gets, one catch for 7 yards because he hasn't been on the field for so long, and it's a different landscape in New Orleans than when he last played. We got Derek Carr in there. We got Chris Olave in there now. But with, basically the backfield belonging to Jamal Williams and probably some Taysom Hill, you could argue that there's more passing situations available. So Thomas is a very interesting play. Definitely not someone I would consider in cash because his floor is a 0. But for MME, he has some interest, and if you're playing Derek Carr, I could definitely see some shots being taken there for sure.
I couldn't agree more. But again, like you said, Michael Thomas could one catch for 10 yards. And I could see that the same exact targets, 7 or 8 targets for Terry and Mike Thomas. Yeah. I'm just expecting Terry McLaurin to do more with what he's given here today. And Sam Howell, who you loved and talked about on Friday's show, to realistically force feed the ball to him if need be.
Yeah. And so talking about Sam Howell, we're coming up. It's 12:23 here now. So about a half hour before lock. We got a few more minutes for sure. We're going to be here. I just want to kind of run through some things real quick, in between questions. And, my quarterback pool is very similar to what it was for cash when we had the show on Friday. I'm locked into Sam Howell. Justin Herbert was an option. I know a lot of people are going to go there as well. I think Howell and Herbert are the two guys that most people play because we've had so much salary open up. I think Jalen Hurts is somebody that if you want to squeeze in today, I think you could. But for me, it's still Sam Howell. What do you think? Anything changed for you from an MME perspective at the quarterback position, Chris?
No. Realistically, I'm still all over Desmond Ridder, and I know maybe I'll catch slack for it, but that's why I'm here to just give my advice, give some tips, thoughts from an experience factor, from a place of just experience, having done this for a while. I do still love Anthony Richardson, as I mentioned on Friday. Indianapolis playing Jacksonville, and let's see what. To me, Week 1 that should have been the headline of this instead of the pink DFS den at the top of this graphic. It should say, "What's all the fuss about?" Right? We'll see. What are we going to get from Richardson? Brock Purdy finally without having to look over his shoulder. The idea of Cam Akers and J.K. Dobbins as my 1-2 RB combo. Christian Kirk, Godwin, and Tyler Lockett as my 3 MME wide receivers with a little bit of a sprinkle of Drake London to kind of back up that Desmond Ridder thing. Jordan Addison was a guy we mentioned. And then when you get to tight end, we know what we do. We punt. I've mentioned David Njoku several times, and it just just one of those things where when the week starts out, before it's over, you're like, I'm really high on this guy. And I did, like, other people kind of influenced the reason why I'm saying or doing what I'm doing. So I'm asking you for, try to be a leader, not a follower. I've said jump off a bridge, don't jump off a bridge. But sometimes in an MME case, it's okay to be a follower. And even in cash games, we're going to want to follow Dave.
Yeah, I mean, I've done pretty well in cash for a while, and it's not always, the most exciting thing like we talked about on Friday. It's a lot of times it's, boring, chalky plays, but, we can get away with that in cash because we're just trying to beat.
It's like a part-time job, right? Realistically, it's like a fun part-time job, like what we're doing now, getting together on Sunday to broadcast or write an article or play, have 175 entries, but use one lineup. It's basically a part-time job. I know I have to file taxes for my DFS and sports betting winnings. So yeah, it's a fun, interesting part-time job playing DFS.
Yeah. Speaking of entries, I am up to a cool 1,238 today, even with, just playing, mostly cash. So, and that's only with, I've got a grand total of 3 lineups across everything. Now, the cash is just one. I've sprinkled a couple of MME type lineups in, a couple of things here and there, but let's go ahead and hop on over to the running backs. For me, this changed today. I am now currently sitting to where I am playing. I'm playing Eckler still. That did not change, but Jamal Williams snuck back in once we found out that Miller is out, and then Raheem Mostert once we found out that Shane is not playing today. These are just 2 guys who are going to get that volume, and like I say, in cash, volume is king, and so I had to pivot. And, I basically got myself off of Derrick Henry, who is another huge volume guy, but he's a little bit more expensive. And so I made the pivot here to Williams and Mostert. I still think you can play White in cash if you want to. He's still in the pool. Henry's still in the pool. Mixon is still in the pool for me. But I'm going with, those 3 guys. Obviously, one slides into the flex. And any changes coming from you, Chris, running back wise?
Well, I've mentioned, as I said, Cam and JK until into the ground, but and hopefully people have written that down or they put that in their lineups. But one thing that just caught my eye, it's Josh Jacobs, right? And Josh Jacobs, he's one of the more expensive running backs, rightfully so, $8,400 on FanDuel, but Vegas is going to Denver. Denver's 23rd against opposing running backs. And Josh Jacobs is one of those guys. I mean, personally, he helped me win a fantasy football championship last year. And he's one of those guys where not a lot of people like him. He's always talking shit. He's always saying F you fantasy owners. He wants what he wants when he wants it. And Vegas recently gave it to him, if I'm not mistaken, gave him some more money. And, those kind of things, just getting all those carries and holding up and getting the job done. And I don't want to hear tread on tires and all that nonsense with Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs. As I said, I have Las Vegas to hang 23, 24 points on the Denver Broncos. What are the chances Josh Jacobs doesn't score twice, in this game? I'd also like to talk about Miles Sanders. Carolina is at Atlanta. Atlanta's 20th overall. I haven't heard a peep out of anybody talking about Miles Sanders now that he's gone over to Carolina. And again, on Friday, we talked about the rookie quarterback using, tight ends as a safety blanket. Miles Sanders is also another nice little binky for a rookie quarterback. He can catch passes. We know he's been not under the weather. He's had some lower body issues, but he looks to be healthy and he's playing in week 1. So I do think there's an idea or a thought to be made with Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders, bing, bang, boom, in MME this week.
For sure, man. Lots of stuff happening here. So bear with me. I'm trying to keep track of things. I don't want to miss anything so we can bring it up here at the last minute. Wide receivers. For me, from a cash perspective, things are basically, at the same spot that they were on Friday. I was pumping in Hill and pumping in Jefferson because, it's Hill and Jefferson. Anytime you have the opportunity to play those guys, I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer, but, they're definitely into consideration. And where we can save so much cash this week everywhere else, those guys were in. With the Judy news, Marvin Mims has kind of made his way into my lineup as well. On Friday, it was kind of wait and see with Jaden Reed, with even Tutu Atwell, and then Mims as well. But like I said, with this Judy news, I think that Mims is a no-brainer in cash. So, I'm going Hill, Jefferson, and Mims. I think you can play Jamar Chase as well if you want to. Obviously, you're going to have to swap out either Hill or Jefferson, but if you feel more comfortable there, you can do that. I still think that Dotson is cash viable. And like I said, you can still throw in Reed or Atwell as well if you want to swap one of those guys out for Mims. Now, from an MME perspective, Chris, how is the wide receiver position looking now that we're about to hit lock?
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I haven't, there's certain guys I can't, I can, but given the way that I move around in bottom of the barrel, it's meant to be those cheaper plays. So when I get on a broadcast, I'm able to talk about the more expensive guys and breathe a sigh of relief because it's not like, condescending or silly like that. Chris Olave, New Orleans, is playing Tennessee. Dead last 32nd against opposing wide receivers. Olave only $7,300 on FanDuel. We know I mentioned Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper. As we go down, Devonta Smith, Philly is playing in New England. That's going to be an interesting game. How does Jalen Hurts and Philadelphia have kind of come back after that Super Bowl loss? That is a narrative. I mean, I'm sure they talked about it in little circles all over. I know the Philadelphia people have talked about it, but Devontae Smith is a nice move to do as well. And then Cortland Sutton, 5.9 on FanDuel, Denver playing Vegas. As I said, I do expect Las Vegas to hang 28 points, but I have Denver to also hang there with a little bit of points, 20, 21 points, something like that. So let's not jump off the wagon 30 minutes before lock. We say one thing all week, and then that's like putting in one lineup and then tinkering 5 minutes before lock. It is the death blow, the death curse in DFS formats. Cortland Sutton, George Pickens, and let's see what all the fuss, as I said, that should be the headline here. Let's see what all the fuss is about with George Pickens against San Francisco and Elijah Moore, who was supposed to be, AJ Brown revived or ×2, and he did absolutely nothing. Was it something that went on in New York? But let's see what he can do now in Cleveland versus Cincinnati, which I've already said is going to be a very interesting game. I'm taking the over in the battle for Ohio.
Yeah, and it's always interesting. Week one, you can argue week one is the most difficult to some extent because we have such little information. And, for somebody like myself who, really dives into data and stuff, once you get to weeks, 4, 5, and then 6 and beyond for sure, you can really dive in and you can really start to make strong cases, based on stuff we've actually seen, which can be good and it can be bad at the same time. But in week one, it's more of, what's in the gut, like you kind of, it's kind of what do you feel? And you kind of got to just go with that because you're going to hear news about all these things, and you don't know what's actually true and what's actually not true. And so you really just kind of got to go with what you feel. And I'm gonna lead into the tight end position there with that because early in the week for me, Luke Musgrave really did stand out. I just thought, man, if Watson's going to be limited and turns out he's out, Jordan Love really loved to target him in the preseason, which I know is take that with a massive grain of salt, but I'm paying down a tight end anyways. And so it was between Musgrave and it was between Hurst. I kind of eventually gravitated to Hurst because it's a more sure thing, whatever, right? Then we get the news about Andrews being out. All of a sudden, Isaiah Likely goes from not any sort of cash consideration for me whatsoever to now he's my tight end for the week. Same price as basically Hurts and Musgrave, at least on DraftKings. But now we get, a much higher ceiling here with Likely and a much higher floor as well. So for me, it comes down to those three guys. I know that from an MME perspective, it's going to be a lot more of a wide range. So why don't you talk to me now about this changed landscape with the tight ends, Chris?
Yeah, we can do a lightning round, and I knew we both knew, we never said anything to each other. What we both knew, 30 minutes was not going to be long enough to contain us on a Sunday. Whatever week it was, week 1, week 15, it didn't matter. So I can give people a lightning round here. You can even go to the website, find me on Discord, and read bottom of the barrel, the tight ends. But if we want to do a lightning round here, as you said, we'll start with Luke. Green Bay is in Chicago. I love you. There's something about it's like the exact opposite. The Chig Okonkwo. Tennessee's at New Orleans. New Orleans is first overall, but Chig really showed us something late last season. And so let's see if that can carry over. Everybody talked about, well, Detroit, they can't carry over the success of last year starting in Kansas City. We know how that ended. So why can't we use that same narrative with players here? So give me Chig, Dalton Schultz, who we talked about Friday, Cole Kmet, Chicago's playing Green Bay. We know what is going on or how Chicago's going to run their offense. And it's all about Justin Fields. But who's to say inside the red zone, those high upside targets, Cole Kmet doesn't get 1 or 2. Noah Fant is a Seattle Seahawk. They're playing the Rams. Cade Otton in Tampa Bay, in Minnesota, another game that I like for high point totals. And Cade Otton only 4.9 on FanDuel. So to me, it's all about just scrolling down to the bottom of the list and kind of working my way backwards. Give me the low owned guys and I'll look at the price tag and then see who it's attached to. And then I go, oh, okay. Mike Gesicki's only $4,800. He's now a New England Patriot. We know how New England and Bill like to do the 2 tight end set, him and Hunter Henry. And before you know it, it's like, okay, Mike Gesicki could score a touchdown, two catches for 13 yards, but one of them is a touchdown here. Austin Hooper is a beautiful play. And I mean, I could keep going and going and going. One more, Cole Turner, Washington playing Arizona. Arizona's always been bad news against tight ends. Only $4,100 on FanDuel.
And, we'll wrap it up here real quick. I always hate to skip over the defense just because, I mean, it's unfortunately in play, and so I'm going to make it real quick. For me, for cash, it is the Washington Commanders. There really isn't any consideration anywhere else. It's been Washington all week. It continues to be Washington. From an MME perspective, it's anybody but Washington. I took my MME lineup, and it is going to Atlanta. So I like Atlanta going up against, a rookie quarterback, even though I like Bryce Young. But anybody but Washington in MME and Washington in cash. What do you think real quick about the defense, Chris?
Absolutely. As I said, the Green Bay Packers or the Chicago Bears, either one. I have that final like 14-13, 17-14. I could see a lot of mistakes for Jordan Love, a lot of sacks being taken, like not even coverage sacks, just Justin Fields trying to do too much and getting sacked. And we go down. I love the idea of New Orleans as well. I have Tennessee scoring about 14 points, but we could see a case here where New Orleans it really makes life a living hell in the backfield for Tennessee. Jacksonville as well. I have Jacksonville really blowing the doors off of Indianapolis, but then you'll say, well, if you like Anthony Richardson at quarterback, but then you're going to stack Jacksonville. Again, I don't care what the final scores are and touchdowns and stuff. I'm looking at interceptions, fumble recoveries, sacks, and things along those lines. Baltimore playing at home against Houston. Houston is not good, right? And they got a rookie quarterback, and that's just easy pickings, getting against these rookie quarterbacks. Atlanta putting up 21 points, while Carolina and their rookie quarterback are scoring around 17 or so. So, I mean, we could go on and on and on. We should do this from now on. A lightning round at tight end, a lightning round at DST, and then watch the video back and see what we get. I don't know. See what sticks.
Yeah, for sure. Tight end is one thing, but defense really is kind of, like I said on Friday, you can put a ball in a hat, pick one out, and that could be your winner. But we have salaries in DFS, so we can't just necessarily do that. But Chris, I think this is where we wrap it up, my man. We want to try to keep it somewhere around 12:30-ish, but when we got stuff to talk about, I'm good going all the way up until 5-10 minutes before lock would need be. So anything else you need to throw in here for the people before we bounce?
Yeah, I can see it on you're nervous right now because I know you're a man of a routine and a rhythm, and I know you want to get the heck out of here so you can edit your lines or look at them.
Everything is submitted, Chris.
Okay,
I have no changes to be made. I didn't want to hold you back.
I didn't want any resentment, like at like 2:00 this afternoon, you send me a text and go, you know what? was pretty crappy what you did to me this morning. I couldn't. So now my conscience is clear. That is beautiful. I do want to tell everybody out there that's watching, and even the producer and Joe and Keith and everybody here, including you at Fantasy Six Pack, I thank you very much for what a wonderfully successful first week for me here, creating all this stuff here at Fantasy Six Pack. Nobody's told me no. I'm allowed to do what I want. I love that creative freedom. I really appreciate that stuff, and that's really the only way for me in terms of creating DFS content. So I want to thank everybody, not only the viewers and the people that are clicking and watching the stuff and commenting, but everybody here, all the staff, guys making graphics, producing segments, editing stuff. Thank you for everything. It's been a fantastic week, and give me about an hour or two, Dave, and we'll have the single game slate, Dallas at the Giants. Yeah. I got a lot to say about that one. In a low scoring affair, over-under's only at 45, just a precursor to that. But basically, it's just a big tip of the cap, and thank you to everybody here at Fantasy Six Pack for not only this week and what is in store to come for the rest of the season. So thank you.
Yeah, and you can have Chris and I all weekend long. We've got our regular, meat and potatoes video comes out Saturday mornings, 9 o'clock. You can watch that, kind of get a full breakdown on the slate. And then we come in here at noon and we talk about, what has changed since then, because unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it, things are going to change. And so we're here at 12 o'clock, bringing you the most up-to-date information possible and get you ready to go. So we will see you next Saturday morning. I wish you all the best of luck, Chris. It's been an absolute pleasure, sir, and good luck.
Yes. We'll see you soon. Dallas and New York tonight.